in the NFL.
Crazy games. All the games are pretty entertaining, especially the first 3 or 4 there. They all came down. And the first 3 NFL games, the team that was winning at the 2-minute warning lost. That's crazy. That's crazy how competitive those games were.
Yeah, a lot to talk about. Obviously, news that hit the fan here, no pun intended, but Mike Tomlin out.
Mike Tomlin out. 19 years in Pittsburgh, never had a losing season, out. I would kind of want that for Washington. I mean, we can't get back-to-back winning seasons to save our life.
Yeah, no question about it.
Our guest that we have on later on the show here, he can talk more about that as a Steelers fan.
Let's go to our guests here right now to the GOAT and talk a little. And we're with the GOAT. GOAT of the UFL. How are you, my friend? You're muted there. Can you hear him? Nope. Can't hear you. Shano, can you hear me? But I can't hear you. Okay, hold on, Shano. Jesus. What just happened? Test. Shano, can you hear me? How come I can't hear you? Oh, there we go.
I was just kind of rolling. Are we live? Or?
Sorry, go ahead. Now you can hear me.
Okay, cool.
Sorry
All
about
right,
that.
so yeah, the regional, Shano. So yeah, you had 3 regional picks that you could use that were from like 4 local colleges near you. So you could use them to override another team's protected player to take them onto your team. So that was kind of a cool twist they added for this year's allocation draft. We're going into year 5 of the league, so it looks like spring football is a real thing here, and this isn't looking like it's winding down. They're actually cranking it up with these new stadiums they got this year and some exciting things going on with it. But the allocation picks, you could get someone from a local college. So we had the Columbus Aviators went and grabbed one of the Battlehawks starting tackles, Gerard Bushell-Beatty. I'm not sure like a lot of the picks for that, but I know that you could also use it to double down. So you could get like, if one of you guys was from a local college, you technically had like 13 protected players. I know the Battlehawks did that. They kept their 12. And then since Hakeem Butler went to Iowa State, he qualified for that. So they actually got like another protected pick out of it.
Nice.
We're with the GOAT, of course. Hope all is well. Sorry for the technical difficulties earlier there, GOAT. But now that the draft, they drafted quarterbacks that you just explained. And the schedule coming out next week, they've kept some, players. You just explained it, but could you go into the free agency that's going to happen in the next few days?
Yeah, so I'm not sure what we'll see as far as free agency. There's another draft, which is either going on tomorrow or right now. It's tough to tell because they're releasing this stuff like they're not doing any of it live. They're releasing it after they've made the picks in bulk. But supposedly the format was that this draft was for all players that have UFL experience. And then there's going to be another draft for the guys with no UFL experience, guys coming in from college, guys who went to the UFL showcases or just, free agents in general that teams will have another chance at. So this draft, the format was kind of interesting. It went by, like you said, quarterbacks was its own thing. And then today, whenever they start up the draft after the protected players, they start off with all the offensive linemen. So then each team had a different order, it looked like, per round. So if you had the first pick for offensive line, you might pick, last for receiver. It was tough to tell the exact order how they did that. But we did see Birmingham, it looked like, somehow had the first pick for wide receivers, and they really loaded up the receiver room. They already had two of the best receivers in the UFL with Deion Kane and Marlon Williams. They basically went out and added best receiver from Houston, Marcus Sims, the best receiver from Memphis, Dawood Davis. They're just going to be completely stacked at wide receiver. They got one of the good receivers from DC, Jaden Mickens. They cleaned up today for sure. Even landing my top available player going into the draft, which was Steven Gonzalez, who I don't understand why the Battlehawks didn't protect him. He was all UFL guard last year. He, I think, got a camp invite to the NFL. But Birmingham just keeps getting better. So any of the Birmingham fans that were complaining about this format or anything, you guys got your 12 protected players back, and you're loading up with all these other players from other teams.
What do you think is, you mentioned the draft order and everything has been behind the scenes, so to speak. Nothing was to the public. What they should have done, maybe done it online, on YouTube or what have you. I understand maybe they don't have the budget for it. I mean, it's not like you're doing it on ESPN like you do with the Shield, meaning the NFL. But do you feel that I'm not saying it's being shady, but how does the public know if the public wants to have more interest in the UFL? The public should know exactly, hey, what's going on and who's picking what, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So as the NFL, for an example, we know who has the first overall pick, which is going to be the Raiders, where Washington has the 7th pick overall. I don't know why, but we should have the 5th. But anyway, that being said, shouldn't the UFL made it a little bit more transparent to the public?
Well, ideally, right, because these drafts draw a lot of attention and stuff, but we have to look at the picture of this isn't the NFL, where if you get drafted the NFL, like there's like a 99.9% chance that guy's going to sign, if not 100%, I think the reason they do some of this behind the scenes, and even today I was wondering, like, the draft was supposed to be at 2:00. I was watching Around the UFL podcast. They were doing a live draft looking, and there was nothing. There was no announcement until after 3:00, a whole hour in, and then they announced all the offensive linemen at once. And it's like, couldn't they at least have just dropped the first pick or something to have people something to talk about? But I think there's a lot of factors, and I think that's why we're shifting towards this, where there's the league GMs instead of individual team GMs. Because if you draft a guy, it doesn't mean that he necessarily wants to play for your team. And then you're going through the process of like, well, what if you draft a guy who only wants to play for his local team in Florida? And then you have to manufacture this trade or whatever to move the rights around. So I think now one of the things I was wondering with that huge holdup was, are they trying to get a hold of these guys before they announce, what would be a bigger disaster? The draft results coming out like an hour late, or the guy you announced first overall, doesn't want to play, for that team, or, is ended up on another team now. Like, just, I think they have to, the new format's really working with the players. Hey, we want to get you to the NFL. We want to give you a chance to succeed. So instead of some, GM who knows everything about all this loading up, we're going to put you in the right scheme fit. We're going to put you in the, with a team that, needs help at this position group. And I think we're going to see that, over the season long term too. I just think it's really hard to organize something like this into an actual draft, and even with the players available too, it's just going to be tough. It's better to do it by position for the rosters. That way you're strong. You have some that are strong in one group, because everyone's going to have to address the offensive line off grid. So whoever's picking first is, they're basically going to end up picking first in a lot of group, in a lot of categories. And this is kind of more of a restart, even though we're keeping some of the pieces from prior seasons.
Yeah, for sure.
What I will throw in real quick, though, is I do think that we could actually see this every year. I think it, with the guys going to the NFL, CFL, retiring, like, these guys are going to be here 2-3 years in a lot of cases, 1 year. So I think this 12 protected players as your roster, and then having some type of draft like this every season might be an annual thing.
I do like to protect the players because that helps the community and the fans at least get attached to some players that are there. Like I'm thankful the defenders still got Jordan Ta'amo back, right? Because he's been there forever. It feels like now since DC came back with the team in 2020, right? So it's great to have him back, and it's great to have some familiar faces for sure. So I think that was smart by them, is having those protected players that you can keep. The NHL does something similar with that. Like when they had a new expansion team, like the Kraken. The Seattle Kraken, they came and like every team got like they got the pick players off each team, but like each team had like allocated amount of people they could say, hey, these are our guys, you can't touch them. So I think that was smart for the UFL to do as well.
Yeah, it definitely was.
What about the draft order though? I mean, going in, do you not know who's picking what? And as a player, wouldn't you want to know, especially with these certain conditions? So if the defenders, for example, had the number 1 overall pick, could they have traded down? Could they, I'm trying to compare it. Obviously, I don't want to compare it to the NFL, but one wouldn't, they can't help it in a sense of, hey, look, if you're a player and you're trying to protect the community, what have you, which I don't find that really reasonable because it's kind of like an Eli Manning kind of situation. I'll explain why real quick. It's, hey, I don't want to play here. Well, then you don't play for this league. Simple as that. So it's like, maybe I'm a little old school there, Shano, right? Because if you get drafted into the Army, well, hell, I don't want to go to the Army. Okay, well, then go to jail. Do you see what I'm saying?
It's a bit more theory on my point, but it's also, they're getting paid like $70K. The league doesn't have a lot of leverage, and it really is a situation where the league like needs them more than they need the league for some of these guys. And overall, it's just a great opportunity to get back in the NFL. But there's different examples of guys who might want to end up have preferences to end up somewhere in strong preferences.
Shano, I feel like I'm the guy from League of Their Own. I got 20 girls who will play in a bathing suit if I ask them to. So this, hey. I don't want to play for this team. I don't want to play for that team. I mean, that's got to change, man. Your thoughts on that, Chano?
I just think I get where it's coming from because like a lot of these guys, I mean, if they can get on to with an NFL team, it's like they're not really locked in. So it's like that's their main goal for these guys. That's where they're gonna make the big money because like UFL GOAT just said, most of these guys aren't making a ton of dough right now.
Sure,
right? They're making 70 grand. Some guys a little bit more.
Hey, it's 70 grand more than they had before. If you want to start bagging groceries, go ahead and do that.
They might have better offers, though. Some of these guys might.
Okay, well, go to the CFL. Go somewhere else.
Yeah, well, you know what? The CFL does pay good, and that's what's interesting is so the people compare the UFL and the CFL all the time, like which one's better. It's actually just it's tough to compare them because you have a lot of UFL veterans that go to the CFL, like Bryce Perkins, the MVP, just left. So you'd want to say, obviously, the CFL is way better, but it's really actually a point where you didn't make the NFL. You've kind of used up your time in the UFL, and you can make, maybe 200 grand or something in the CFL. I know their contracts are all over the place, but sure. I think one of their quarterbacks was even making like 500,000. So it's one of them things where, you want your best chance to get in the NFL is to be playing in the UFL because, they obviously have something set up where these guys are at least getting a lot of tryouts and stuff. Whereas the NFL doesn't really look at CFL as much. And also there's a complication where if you sign with the CFL, I think it's still that you have to sign a 2-year deal. So you can't, you're kind of locked into that.
Sounds like NIL there, Shano.
Kind of does. And like the UFL, the rules are more similar to the NFL as well, where Canadian football is totally different, right? I mean,
exactly.
It's in essence the same game, but the rules are definitely different for sure.
I'm just saying, hey, if my foot, I'm just saying, if my foot's in the door and I'm making X amount of dollars, I don't care who I'm playing for because I'm not going to stay my whole career at the UFL. If you're that legit, want to be that player, hey, I want to go to the next level where you're getting millions and millions of dollars. So if I get drafted, I don't care if I'm playing for the Defenders, if I'm playing for the Orlando Storm. I mean, it doesn't matter if I'm playing for the Aviators. It doesn't matter. I'm just going, hey, I'm in there now. Let me show them what I can do. Now you could have a terrible quarterback. I mean, like the guy Leonard from the Colts, who actually showed up there, Shano, at the last game.
God, he looked terrible in preseason. Good
terrible.
God.
You could have Sam Hartman throw to you. I mean, for all.
No, you don't want that. You don't want that.
Don't
The UFL doesn't want Sam Hartman either. He's bad.
Yeah, maybe. Give him a shot.
What's next there, Goat, for the UFL? Obviously, the schedule's coming out. There's more drafts coming out. So what's next?
We got the schedule coming out. We got kickoff coming out. Like this is where we're in the stretch run here. It's NFL playoffs. NFL season's going to be over soon, and then we're going to have about a month until kickoff. Every team has a coach in place where they keep an eye on, some of these staff picks, see if AJ McCarron brings anyone from Alabama or Ted Ginn gets anyone from Ohio State. We have, the rosters, or we have a bulk of the rosters are done now. So I guess we're going to stay tuned for some of those people from the non-UFL draft who come in. I want to see if people who did the tryouts, the UFL showcase tryouts, see some of those guys.
Right.
Because I think that Ja'Cour Pearson, who's like one of the top receivers in the league for the Battlehawks, wasn't even notable and came through one of those showcases a while back. So you can definitely get some talent out of there. I think it's a great story. Whenever a guy literally comes off the couch and, maybe has a chance to get in the NFL, or at least, the UFL is getting bigger every year. And I think I think this is the year that people are going to wake up to that it's on, and that, that it's here to stay,
Sure.
Every year it's a huge mountain to climb, but whenever you really zoom out and look at it, go back into the USFL with, the hub situation, and you have the XFL, and then we have the merger season, and just all we asked for last year was some consistency, and we got it. And now we're ready for, some positive changes. I think the sky's the limit with this thing. Sports is in, sports betting's in. And now that we're getting, you can even see with some of the quarterback, we didn't get into the quarterbacks, but whenever you have Dorian Thompson-Robinson and guys that might not be super notable, but guys who have an option to go to the NFL without having to do this, like Jack Bean, he can catch on as, a practice squad guy, guys in that situation that are believing in the league. And you actually have the top guys that, went undrafted or get cut or automatically going into here. You're going to see such an influx of talent, because right now it's like a bulk, or no, over the years, it's been a bulk of HBCU and Division II players. Then last year was the year where, hey, these are a lot of former Division I players. So eventually it's going to get to the point where all the guys who aren't in the NFL or have a guaranteed contract in their hand are going to want to come in this league because it showed sustainability. The only reason they wanted to play, they wanted to get an opportunity, but a lot of these leagues had folded and screwed guys over. So the trust wasn't there. But now that you have the trust, this thing really is going to take off over the next couple of years. I think this year going and getting AJ McCarron to be down in Alabama, Ted Ginn, I think this is really smart to connect to the communities. We got some big name college coaches and big name players from college that are now coaches. That's one of the complaints is these are all new coaches. But people say that Anthony Beck is one of the best coaches in the league. He had no experience. I think if you have a guy who played football and has been around football his whole life, these guys were in the NFL and, they know the game. This is a good learning experience for them too, to take it to the next level and get a coaching, maybe an offensive coordinator, or just even go from this to being a quarterbacks coach in the NFL, or, get that NFL opportunity.
Sure,
for sure.
We're with the UFL GOAT. You can catch him at ProCatchYT on X. Go, before we let you go, we got a couple more questions for you. You mentioned the coaching in the league now, and of course they've changed. And it just seems like they've gotten younger, just like the NFL is starting to do that. And I'll explain what I mean by that. There's nothing wrong. Obviously your beloved Steelers, Tomlin has now exited. But now they're starting to starting to bring in, and you've seen it in Jacksonville. You've seen it in Seattle. I'm talking about the NFL, of course. You've seen it in Carolina, all these younger coaches. Okay, so you're not seeing the Joe Gibbs, you're not seeing the Belichick, you're not seeing any of those anymore. They did the same thing it seems like in the UFL, right? Do you have an issue with now bringing in the younger guys? Like you mentioned AJ, you mentioned a Ted Ginn Jr. now into these new roles, a Ricky Prohl. Okay, I'm not saying he's a young guy, but he's definitely young.
He doesn't have
but
experience.
He does have experience. You see what I'm saying? Are you bothered by the Skip Holtz being gone? Are you bothered by the transfer of Anthony Beck going from the Battlehawks now to the Storm? Do you have an issue with that?
Well, it's certainly interesting, right? And we're going to find out how this works out. But I got to remind people who won the championship last year. The interim coach in DC, Shannon Harris. No coaching, he was their offensive coordinator.
Right.
Coach takes a job at Tennessee State. He steps in as head coach and runs the table against, all the names you just listed. So,
right.
It's as long as we get good football on the field, I think that's what people are worried about is that these guys won't know what they're doing. But I think they're going to have like good staff around them. And it's not just like throwing them out there. Like this is like a startup league, like the Continental Football League. And it's like, hey, you're in charge. Like we're all looking to you to some extent, the head coach is in charge there, but like the UFL with their foundation in place, and what they expect of the coaches and the resources that they give them, I think we're going to still see very high quality play out of all these teams. And as far as going younger, I think all these leagues, NFL included, are always looking for, more marketability and more how do we get our target audience, Birmingham's a great case scenario. That is ridiculous to get rid of Skip Holtz. I know a lot of people are mad about it, but if you're going to do local events, say you have, you're doing an event at Alabama and Skip Holtz is coming.
Right.
How many people are going to show up compared to if AJ McCarron's having an event at Alabama to promote the team? That's something, that's a big deal that like everyone's going to try to show up for compared to if Skip Holtz, no disrespect, but I don't even know if anyone would even know who that was outside of the UFL community. So this year is really about like, hey, we proved that we have a good league here and a good thing going, and now we need to get more eyes on it. So that's what they had in mind with a lot of these coaches. And I hope that, in fact, I hope they do a couple college campus visits and try to sell some tickets. Ted Ginn, same thing. I mean, if he's making some type of appearance at Ohio State, a lot of people are going to want to show up and see him and go to that event. And then, then they find out about the league. At least give them a schedule because without going on the UFL's website to find it, it's tough, to know because they're in a tough spot. Like the best way to get returning audience is that like consistent schedule. They know to show, we know Sunday night, I don't have to look it up. I can put on NBC or Peacock Sunday night and watch it. I got my 1 o'clock, my 4 o'clock. I know Monday is going to be on ESPN and Thursdays on Prime.
Right.
And UFL has an issue with that because they kind of get pushed around by, Fox and ESPN because they have a big NBA game that's going to draw, 8 million or 5 million, whatever they get. So they kind of have to squeeze in and have, not that significant, but if you play it at 1 o'clock and now there's no 1 o'clock game and it's a 3 o'clock or, it's really important to get schedules in people's hands. I don't really know, what other way they could do to break through on that because, they post a lot on, Twitter and stuff like that. But what ends up happening is like, if you're not in that algorithm, their reach is, I don't know how many followers they have, 100,000 or something. It's not millions. And it's just they just need to connect with the local communities, I guess is probably the best way to do it. You can only do so much. What's that?
To put butts in seats.
Exactly. Give the people in that community a reason to care. And I think that's cool, like going with these coaching choices, and trying to get, I guess, some of the former players from I think that's what they had in mind with the college allocation thing. Just trying to give people a reason to care, because I think for the most part the play's there, and it's tough to, like, whenever you look at football under a microscope, even a lot of these NFL games aren't that exciting. It's
Right.
that you got the money on it, or you got the fantasy player, or you're actually like going to give it enough patience to see the big play instead of tuning in for 5 minutes. Like, I think if you just watch 5 minutes of, any NFL game and said, this isn't good play or whatever, because they went 3 and out, but there's a reputation and a stigma that spring football still has to overcome. But I'll tell you what, the feedback now is a lot more optimistic than a lot of people just saying, like, oh, not this crap again, not Vince McMahon's XFL, one season, terrible. I think now it's more that people are like, yeah, I mean, I that's cool. I've heard that's going on, but I don't, have any idea how to watch it or get updates on it or anything like that. The league really needs to get creative with their marketing for sure with that one. But
yeah,
the league's definitely growing. And,
what you said about the NFL thing right there is, like, look at last night's game, for example. It was 7-6 for a majority of that game, right? until pretty much until the fourth quarter, right? If that was a UFL game, there would be people online saying, "Oh man, look, these guys aren't the NFL players. Yep. They're not NFL."
Oh,
in the NFL too. They have these games like this where that's how football is. Sometimes there's these defenses that just shut you down. And that's the way it goes. And it turned out to be pretty entertaining at the end, at least not for you, for the Steelers fans, but for the Texans fans. The Texas defense came out there and made some big plays. You saw some excitement there. But yeah, that's something that the league has to get over. And then I think that consistency will help. And then what you said about them having a consistent schedule is huge. And I think that will just come with time, with the longer this league comes around, because I think then the networks will start buying in more, and then hopefully start building more of a fan base.
Yeah, I think they've been, for all we know, they could know that this is going to do really good, and they're like just being very patient with it. And it kind of looked like that's what they're doing with some of these things, like not trying to overspend on, like veterans, or just there's been a lot of like tight budgeting, but it's like, well, you're saving money in some respect, or you're at least getting your bottom line closer to making a net gain off of it. But I think, yeah, for this to work out long term, there is going to have to be a lot of things, a lot of changes. Like almost every season, people are like saying like this is almost a restart, and they're complaining. But like, get used to the change. There's always going to be a lot of change in spring football, because eventually we're going to get, for this to succeed long term, we're going to have to get to the point where we're selling these franchises, and the franchises are profitable, and then you have all team owners, and then you have real free agency period. Then you have owners that want to spend money on, say you get a wealthy owner, he wants to sign a quarterback for $5 million.
Yeah.
Then you have to put a system in place for that. There's always going to be changes in these leagues, and with it being like the in-betweener league between college and NFL in some cases, this is like they have like a window to perform.
For sure. Going back to the draft, I had one more question for you about the draft. You said that you really liked that receiver that Birmingham got.
Yes.
Is there any other players you think that were steals, like someone that like heisted everybody and picked out?
Yeah, absolutely. And if the league could have put out like they will tomorrow, but like right now it's been such a scramble to figure out where all these people play in the different allocations. But yeah, real quick, I'd just run through the teams real quick and a couple of the teams and what they did. Birmingham, it looks like they're going with Matt Corral, and Alex McGough, who was their franchise quarterback, got hurt last year. He went unclaimed, undrafted, so we'll see what happens with him. I know he had some shoulder injuries, and you see a pattern of guys who come to the UFL, go to the NFL like camps, get cut, come back for another season of UFL, and then they, opt to retire. And the guy that I'm looking at for that right now is 2024 UFL Defensive Player of the Year, Breland Speaks from Michigan Panthers, went undrafted so far that I know of. and he's 30 years old, same situation. You're getting defensive player of the year. Then you go to camp, get cut, and then you didn't get an invite last year after trying that again. So that could be another retirement. Some of the biggest steals, Carlos Davis, who's one of the best defensive linemen, he ended up going to St. Louis, and that's a perfect fit because they needed a defensive tackle because they lost Kyler Baugh, went to the Steelers and stuck, at least as like a real practice squad member. So they had to replace him, and to go get one of the better defensive tackles in the league was really good for them. I'm just trying to look through real quick and see some of the other people I wanted to talk about. Orlando. So Orlando, I think, is the biggest winner of the day, only because they had like no hype, nothing other than like they got coached back. And it's like, what we don't have anything to talk about with this team. And all of a sudden they're like extremely stacked. They went Dorian Thompson-Robinson is mobile quarterback, played on the Browns for a while. Really is an NFL talent in my mind. He's a guy who could go back and not only make a practice squad, I think he could be someone's backup, especially if he just crushes it this year. He has the most to gain. And wherever you look at Beck's system last year, he had a lot of success with Manny Wilkins in the beginning of the year. They were 4-0. Running, with a running quarterback, running the read option with him and Sailors. Now he has a situation down there with Dorian Thompson-Robinson where he can do the same thing. I'm trying to look through real quick. Let me see this reserve list, and I can break down, because the reserves, in my mind, or in my opinion, were more important than the picks, because the reserves are like pretty much your first 12 picks. Mm-hmm. And then there's guys that I think they kind of put, it's confusing because I saw some of the teams were only taking like 3 players in some rounds. Some had multiple. So I don't know if you like kept a certain position number, you had less picks at that position. There was some strategy with that. Of course, this page.
It probably is. Like some team kept 4 running backs for some reason. They can't draft 4 more, so like they don't have a stack position there.
And especially the Battle Hawks, whenever you look at them, they barely drafted anyone after their picks. Like I said, they had Hakeem Butler as one of their allocations.
We're as the GOAT's looking at that. We're with the UFL GOAT. You can catch him on X at ProCatchYT. GOAT, before we let you go here, I know you're a busy guy, but I just definitely want to get your comment on your beloved Steelers. I know you talked about
UFL, man,
but
on the Steelers, hey, you know what, Tomlin, it was an all right era. I can't remember the last time we won a playoff game. But overall, it was all right. There wasn't miserable seasons. They were kind of inevitable seasons, but they were entertaining. They kept it entertaining week to week. I definitely think it was a good era, and I think it's probably the perfect time to move on, just because we're just ready for change. We just want to see a different system, and it's whenever you're coaching for that long and watching the same team, I think he can definitely go do good somewhere else. I don't think he's a bad coach, but I think sometimes after a while you need a change. And his style, a lot of cases, is bringing in veterans and doing that thing. And the Steelers, that we like to develop our own players, and I'd just like to get like a young either offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator. 2 of the names I've heard are Clint Kubiak and Chris Shula. So you got one of the best offensive, the best offense and the best defensive coordinator. So that's my opinion, at least, on replacing him. Please don't hire a college coach, with no NFL experience. The guy from Indiana would be really cool, but it's just I just want to see good professional football with a guy who's acclimated to the NFL level, who knows the ins and outs of it. Some of these guys, I don't want it to come be a learning experience. I want a guy who's going to come in place, be ready to maybe tank a little bit in year 1, but turn it around as fast as possible. with a young roster, which is what they just need. They're just too old all over the place.
No,
Yeah,
completely
with Aaron Rodgers and Jalen Ramsey. I think Rodgers, definitely not coming back. He'll probably retire, but maybe someone else will want him. And Jalen Ramsey, they'll probably trade again because I don't see any he's good, but why would you keep him on a team that's looking to reload and rebuild? I think he'll probably end up being traded somewhere while they can still get some value for him. Say cut a little bit of money off that, but they're probably going to end up eating a lot of that contract, which was the issue with it whenever they traded for him in the first place. Was you're taking on a lot of dead cap regardless, and now looks like we're rebuilding because it didn't really work out this they won the off season. It's always when you win the off season you don't win the real season,
right?
And what I mean by that is with the headlines. I don't think the roster construction made any sense, if you're asking me, with some of the decisions. I actually would have liked to see Omar gone more than Tomlin, just because the way you handled the wide receiver room makes no sense at all. If you're going to trade Pickens, you have to have something ready to go. And just even DK Metcalf, is not necessarily like, he's more of like a really good number 2 that you could throw downfield to. He's not your underneath go-to guy that can make a quick cut and he's open, and has good hands underneath. So how could you not see that coming into the season whenever you have no depth behind him? Calvin Austin is obviously undersized. Roman Wilson doesn't see the field.
Right.
And then you have a bunch of random veterans that they picked up on waivers or whatever. It's just then that, you're going to go with that after you brought in Aaron Rodgers. It just, nothing made any sense to me on that point.
The craziest stat to me, it still blows my mind every time I think about it, is that the Steelers have only had 3 head coaches since 1969. It is ridiculous. You never hear about that in any franchise, in any sport. 3 coaches since 1969, 3 head coaches. I mean, that's ridiculous. And Tomlin, I think, is a great coach. And he has the highest winning percentage out of any Steelers head coach in history. So you're getting rid of somebody who's consistently a winner, which is tough. But it kind of reminds me of the Andy Reid situation in Philly, where he brought Philly to the NFC Championship game year after year, and then they just never broke through and won the big one, and then they finally got rid of him to change it up. Yeah. But I think he still can coach somewhere. I'm sure somebody will pick him up.
I agree, and I hope that he coaches somewhere next year because the Steelers will have to trade him.
What if it's Baltimore?
Well, you know what? If they want to give us a first-round pick while we're heading into a rebuild, he can go. But since it's Baltimore, they might have to give us 2 first-round picks. But I was actually amazed. I didn't realize. I looked up, these people were saying, get a first, Tomlin to the Giants for a first-round pick, which is, what? They're picking 3rd or something. But I looked it up, and historically, teams are giving up first-round picks. Quite a lot of big packages for the veteran coaches that have been traded in the history, and including Sean Payton recently. The Saints got an early first-round pick for him, and other picks. I think it's pretty interesting to look at. So it would be not to get conspiratorial, but the draft is in Pittsburgh this year. And what would be more exciting than Tomlin, going to one of them teams? You got the Raiders with the first pick in the draft. You got the Giants are picking, 3rd, or a lot of them teams need a head coach. If he decides he wants to coach for a team, it's a really interesting scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Goat, we appreciate your time. We'll have you on again next time for more of the UFL news. As you know, the schedule's coming out. But again, guys, if you're interested in following them, make sure you follow them at ProCatchYT on X. And Goat, we appreciate it. And have a good night, my friend. Take care.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on.
Yep. All right, Shano. It is, of course, Tomlin is gone.
It's pretty surprising, honestly. Even though I saw it coming.
He is gone.
Gone there. Sorry about that. Your thoughts on that there, Shano?
It's surprising to me, but at the same time, it's kind of not. I think UFL GOAT just said it pretty well. It comes to a point in time where you don't have that playoff success, where the team just needs to move on. And honestly, I think the Steelers have been so consistently average to good for so long. I feel like they kind of need a bottoming out. They need to replenish, like have a year where they go 5-12 or whatever, get a higher draft pick. Cause Tomlin's never had a losing season in the 19 years he's been there. That's crazy, right? He the worst he's done is 8-8. That's the worst he's ever did as a head coach, which is incredible. I mean, it shows you how well he prepares and his coaching, how well he is as a coach. So, but at the same time, they don't have a quarterback, and they don't have a quarterback. One of the reasons why is because they're always that consistently good. They're never drafting high enough to get a top-end quarterback out of college where they wouldn't have to give up a ton of picks to move up there. So I think they kind of need to bottom out at some point, and get rid of some of these veteran players they have and just kind of do like a fresh rebuild. I know the Steelers fans, they say they want that.
Right.
Us as Skins fans have been living that for 30 years.
Yeah, no question about it.
I got to tell them, and I know some Steelers fans, and they were saying they wanted Tomlin gone and all this other stuff. And I'm like, hey, don't slap relevancy in the face. That guy gets you in the playoffs pretty much every year. I would take that in a heartbeat.
Sure.
Like, we never beat the playoffs on back-to-back years. And we've been up and down like crazy. Like last year, NFC Championship game. This year, we're bottom dwellers. So to me, as a Skins fan, it's shocking because I would love to have a coach that had that consistency for that long. But I kind of get it at the same time.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go back to my young theory. Me, I, of course, coached for 20 years. I didn't have any time. Well, I was kind of close, I guess, to Tomlin having winning records with different schools. But, it's hard. Now, I've had 2 or 3, and it sucks when you're like 2 or 3 schools, like, okay, hey, it's I believe it was only 2, when you have a season that's a bad season. But my point is, I think not only do I think it's now political, it could be, but it also, you have to go young. Tomlin's getting up there. Even Harbaugh's getting up there. Okay. I think you need a younger voice, one who is willing to put in the work. I'm not saying at all that DQ or anybody's not putting in the work. Look at Shanahan. Okay. Look at McVay. Look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, Liam Cohn. Okay. These are young guys. I think this is the way that the NFL is starting to, evolve and start to, hey, look, this is going to be the new generation. Let me explain in WWE terms, as you and I can relate to, where, hey, everybody wants to see Hulk Hogan and Macho Man, but at the end of the day, they're getting older, and Ric Flair, they're getting older, but nobody wants to pay a ticket to see that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, no one's going to go right now to go see Hulk Hogan or Macho Man, and that's why you had the new generation in The Rock, in Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, etc. Now those guys are gone. Now you're bringing the newer guys. So even like an AJ Styles, he's starting to leave. The Undertaker, he's gone. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
When coaching, it's the same way. You need that young person who's going to actually put in the work, stay at the office until 2, 3, 4, maybe pull a few overnighter. Hey, tell the wife or the girlfriend, hey, I'll see you. It's August. I'll see you in February, hopefully. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I get it. Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a young man's game. Tomlin's a little younger than you think, though. He's only like 52. Because he got hired by the Steelers at like 34 or something like that when he first got hired. 33. He got hired really young, really, really young. But he was on Bill Cowher's coaching staff. Yeah. And Cowher vouched for the guy and said, hey, this guy's a great coach. He's good. He's like, he can do it. And he was right. I mean, he's an excellent head coach, I think. Sure. And I don't think there's a better leader of men than him, like in the league. Maybe you have like a Dan Campbell that can be comparable to him. Yeah. But overall, I think he's a stand-up dude, and he's a great coach. And sounds like, for the reports, they're saying that he's stepping away from the sport for a year and then kind of just take a break. They might be getting into TV for a year and then maybe reassessing everything and then coming back. And that would be the 2027 season. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think whenever he wants to come back, the coach he'll have his choice of whatever job openings he wants, pretty much, because that resume is pretty impressive. Where you don't have a losing season for 19 years. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Absolutely. Let's now move, of course, to the NFL. Excuse me, the NFL playoffs preview, the divisional preview, and we'll go with right off the bat the Saturday matchup. Now, just a real recap there, Shano, how we did on our picks this past week in the wild card.
Mixed bag this week, wasn't it? Mixed bag this week. We nailed some, other ones we were a little off on.
Yeah.
We had the Bears money line, right?
Yep.
So that was big. We had the Eagles minus 5.5. That was not good.
No.
Eagles could not move the ball at all, it seemed like, on that 49ers defense. And that news broke today. The Eagles fired their offensive coordinator.
Yep.
So, and that's going to make 5 offensive coordinators in the last 5 seasons for them. That's crazy. Their last couple, like Shane Steichen, he's got the head coaching job at the Colts. Somebody else left for another head coaching job. But yeah, they had troubles on offense all year. And so it's not surprising he got fired. So it kind of makes me wonder. I don't think Sirianni's on the hot seat. It's kind of hard to do that after winning a Super Bowl very, very recently, like last year. So I don't think he's on the hot seat for this year, but I think it's going to start warming up after this year.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. We also had the Jags. I had a money line. They had it. I don't, I blame a little bit of the coaching staff when you're taking on a team like this, and they're hurt, and now they're really hurt, and we'll talk about that in just a second there, Shano. But you don't leave, especially in the playoffs. Throw the analytics in the trash. Take the points.
The points.
And that would have been a different game in the Buffalo-Jacksonville Jaguars game if they had taken the points.
I agree. I thought the same thing for the Chargers Patriots game. The Chargers got down to the red zone in the first quarter, and then they went for it like on a 4th and 2 on like the 10-yard line or something like that.
Yeah. And
I was like, I would take the points here. It's 0-0. Just get on the scoreboard. Sometimes that helps build some momentum, so then that your offense can start going next time, especially that early in the game. Yeah. So it's surprising. And Jacksonville, like you said, same thing. So many coaches are going for it. The analytics say go for it, but the analytics don't know everything. They don't know everything.
No.
That's just straight numbers. They don't know, hey, my left tackle's hurt. Hey, they have the cornerbacks banged up. We might be able to expose that. It's just straight numbers, right? And it's a good data point. It's a very good data point.
Sure.
And it's something you should look at, but it shouldn't be your only decision.
We hit on the Bears money line as they defeat the Green Bay Packers. So, it was tough, but we pulled through. Let's look at our first game that's going to take place on Saturday. Speaking of Buffalo, we, of course, are referring to the Buffalo Bills traveling to the Denver Broncos. And, folks, you can see that right there on your screen there. The line is already out, but they're both plus money because on the spread, plus 1.5 for Denver, plus 1.5. You can get that at minus 110 for Buffalo. It's starting to change, starting to fluctuate here and there. And you can see the money line's kind of close there, Shano, minus 108 and minus 105 for Denver. But look at the ATS record. 9-9 when it comes to Buffalo, but 7-9-1 when it comes to Denver. Denver being the young club here. If they're saying that, hey, and I know that the head coach, Sean Payton for the Denver Broncos, is drilling this into his team's ear. They made us underdogs?
Yeah. You're the 1 seed?
Right.
You're the 1 seed? You're an underdog? Coming off a bye week where they just had a brawl against the Jaguars? Yeah, that's surprising. I know we're not giving official picks yet, but my lean here is the Broncos.
Yeah.
The Bills are beat up. Josh Allen's beat up.
Yep.
He's hurt. He's playing through some injuries right now. He still played a pretty good game against Jacksonville, but that Jacksonville defense isn't the same as that Denver defense.
Yeah.
The Denver defense is good. One of the top 5 unit in the NFL. I would say them and Texans are probably the top 2. And you're playing in Denver in the Mile High Stadium there. So my early lean here is the Broncos come away with this thing.
And with a little bit less rest. And keep in mind that now, I mean, he's pretty much going to either throw to Shakira, whatever his name is. Okay. And
Shakira.
whatever her name is, or his name
Yeah,
is.
his hips don't lie.
And and of course the tight end. But even one of them, Kincaid, one of them's hurt, or one of them's just kind of banged up. I don't see Buffalo. I think they hang a little bit here, but that's why I'm a little disappointed where Jacksonville had the opportunity. And I think it may have been the inexperience of the coach where they should have qualified to the next round. Buffalo, in my opinion, lucked out.
I agree. Something else to look out here, guys, better the over-under, the total. It opened at 48.5. It's already down to 46.5.
Yeah.
So that means a lot of money's getting poured on the under on there too.
Yeah.
So I can kind of see the under hitting in this game as well because Denver's offense hasn't been great this year. They, especially starting off games, they start very slow, and in the second half they start to pick things up. So that's something to look forward to too. Is if you're looking for bets, maybe lean that under there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to the second game. That's the Saturday night game there, Shano. It is, of course, the other 1 seed, but now we're moving over to the NFC, where the Seattle Seahawks host the San Francisco 49ers. The spreads are right there on the screen there, folks, at Seattle now at -7. San Francisco at +7.5. That's a lot of points, but this is round 3.
The rubber match.
Yep.
Yeah, so San Fran won the game, game one in Seattle, but that was very early in the season. That was like week 3 or something like that, where they played each other. And then obviously everybody knows week 18, the very last game, where the winner got the number 1 seed and the loser got whatever the San Fran is. The 6th seed?
Yeah.
So
5
that
seed,
came down to it. And
seed.
Seattle, I think, dominated that game. They dominated, especially their defense. They shut down that San Fran offense. Something about McDonald, man, the head coach of the Seahawks, he knows how to stop Shanahan's offense. He just does. Not a lot of people do, but for some reason he does.
ATS, of course, with Seattle 12-5, San Francisco 11-6-1. Shano, are we going to get good Donald or bad Donald?
If I had, did you hear that Warner might be playing?
Yeah.
For the Niners,
the
a linebacker,
yeah.
all-pro linebacker. He might be playing. It's questionable. I wouldn't risk it if I was him, but they said he's back to practicing now. And he could be coming back, if not this game. And if they win this game, he could be coming back the following week. That's surprising. He got hurt this year, a major injury.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
The odds are shifting as we speak. It's going 7.5, 7.5. So may want to wait a little bit. We don't have our official picks until our Friday live show. You can see the ticker right there on the bottom there, folks. Shannon, let's go to our Sunday game. And it'll be the 3:00 game. I, of course, am referring to the Houston Texans as they travel to the New England Patriots. -3 right now, and you can see the ATS again with New England at 12-5-1. Texans 10-8 ATS record. All odds, of course, provided by Scores and Odds. And the the total there, Shano, is what we want to look at here, 43.5. Your early thoughts on this?
Well, that Texans defense, man, I'm definitely leaning the under on that, I think. That Texans defense is legit. And the Patriots defense, they showed up big, too, this past week. I thought they looked really good. Texans, I think the problem is their offense struggled against the Steelers. They had a late run there where Marks had a touchdown at the end of the game in the fourth quarter. But outside of that, they scored 1 touchdown for the first 3 quarters of the game, pretty much. And C.J. Stroud was pretty much trying to give them the game away to the Steelers. He had 2 fumbles. He had an interception. I think that's the more concerning part for the Texans.
They're not going to have Collins. That's for sure.
Yeah. That was he went to the locker room with that concussion. I mean, you could tell he was hurt by that instantly. For sure, and that's a huge loss for them. That's a huge loss. That's their number 1 receiver.
Yeah, that's a big loss. That is definitely a big loss. But if Stroud plays like the first half, because it's a tale of 2 halves there from last night, he looked terrible in the first half against the Steelers, and then he finally showed up. But you have to credit the defense as well.
Yeah, that Steelers defense played really well for the first half of that game for sure. And then they were getting after him too. They had some big hits on him, and I don't know if that rattled him a little bit. But I think this will be a pretty close game. But early lean here. I like the Patriots.
Let's go with our Sunday evening game. Of course, it's the last game. It's a total of 4 games altogether. We're, of course, referring to the Los Angeles Rams as they travel to executive producer Mike's team, the Chicago Bears. You can see the opening lines there at -3.5 for Los Angeles. Chicago at +4 again. Bears a dog. Bears money line at +175. You can see the ATS records right there. I kind of like Los Angeles here with that record of 12-5-0, but -3.5 against these cardiac Bears. Shano, I'm concerned with the hook.
Yeah, the hook is definitely concerning, especially like you said, those Bears, man. I mean, they were down 21-3, came back and won the game. I mean, that's what they've been doing all year. It's like they trail and then just like fight back and push through and get through there. Ben Johnson's been doing a good job dialing up that offense. I do have a problem with the Bears. They're wasting too much cheese. They're just grating cheese all over the place, and it was getting me angry. I was like, you're just wasting this great cheese. We could be having make some nachos with the cheese or something. Don't waste it. Stop wasting all this cheese.
Yeah, in the stands.
Caleb Williams was doing it like on the post game. He was sitting with the guys at the desk or whatever, and just sitting there grating cheese everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a delicious cheese you can have there.
Yeah.
The good people in Wisconsin, they make some good cheese. I was up there for the Green Bay game, for the Skins Green Bay game, and good God, I loved it. It was delicious, and that's my gripe with the Bears right now. Stop wasting so much cheese.
Well, not only that, there, Shano, it was, of course, the folks in the stands there. They're pulling out there, but it did cost them a little bit because they were like, okay, hey, we're coming back, and then Green Bay put another 7 on Chicago.
Yeah, yep. So it definitely was, and then that was a close game. That was a hell of a game, actually. That game was super entertaining to watch. A lot of Packers fans are calling for LaFleur to be fired because of that, because that was a collapse like crazy. It kind of like reminded me of I tweeted this out after the game and said it reminded me of like the Falcons in the Super Bowl. I mean, you're up 21-3 at halftime. That's a game you should win, right? And then he went away from the run way too early. I don't know what happened there. Just run the ball, kill the clock, and you should win that game.
Absolutely. In other news, we'll move away from the NFL. Shayna will, of course, look at real quick at UFC that we're going to be covering not this week, but of course next week. UFC returns, and it returns debuting, I should say, on Paramount Plus. It is, of course, UFC 324, and the numbers have come out, my friend. So let's look at that real quick. I'm assuming you want to go with the championship match first, so let's look at that. On the screen there, you can see here, guys, is the Paddy from England. My mate
Paddy
there.
Paddy the Fatty.
Yeah, Paddy, really? Okay. Taking on Justin there from the America. Look at the lines here, Shano. +195 money line. Again, these are early numbers. We do not have official picks yet for this. Shano and I just got these numbers last night. So, but look at the finish there, Shano. Look, this is the amazing part. +400 for both on knockout, TKO, or DQ. I mean, do you see? And then, of course, you've got the total rounds there: 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, because it's a total of 5 rounds, as you know, there, Shano. Do you see anything that kind of sticks out?
Man, does that say Paddy's -360 to finish?
Yeah.
Man, that is huge. -360 to finish. Gaethje's a good fighter, man. Both these guys are good fighters. But Justin Gaethje, he is definitely the elder in this fight. Paddy Pimblett is he's been climbing the ranks very, very quickly. He's a good. Both of them are great fighters, and I think this is going to be in a super entertaining fight. Both of them are fan favorites. Both the crowd gets behind. I think it's going to be super entertaining. Oh man, I can't -360. I could definitely see him, Paddy Pimblett, slipping a submission on Gaethje. Gaethje like tends to go in pretty head full of steam.
Right.
I could see him like trying to take down Paddy, and then Paddy slips in a choke or something like that. I could definitely see that happening. So, but -360, I wouldn't touch him for the finish, but maybe submission for him. But Gaethje also has some power, man. So him at +400 for a knockout, that's not terrible either.
No, not terrible at all.
I'd have to do some research, look at some previous past opponents they've had in common, see how that went, stuff like that before we make our final bets. But both of those are sticking out to me. +400 for Gaethje for knockout or submission by Paddy.
Let's look, of course, at the co-main event here there, Shano, which is Amanda Nunes taking on Carla Harrison, the American. And you can see the numbers right there, folks, on the screen. Nunes at plus 185, where Harrison's at minus 225 on the money line. Again, we've got all the rounds here. It's going to be a total of 5 rounds. This is interesting, Shano.
Yeah, this one is probably the one I'm looking forward to the most. It's Amanda Nunes is the greatest women's fighter in UFC history. I think her resume stacks up better than almost anybody's. The names on her list that she's beaten is incredible. She's a very, very good fighter. She's been retired for the last couple of years. She stepped away, but she's a two division champ. Right. She is very good, and it's hard to go away from her at money line, especially at plus 185. I mean, I get that she's been away, and Kayla Harrison is a very good fighter as well. Definitely has definitely younger than Nunes. Right. But it's when I see Amanda Nunes at plus money, it's like, I don't know if it's instinct from previous when she was in there, but you know what I mean? It's hard to, it's like saying like, oh my God, Amanda Nunes plus money. It makes me want to like jump on it right away almost.
Yeah.
But I think this is going to be a super, super, super entertaining fight, and I can't wait for it.
We're talking, of course, UFC 324. We're doing a preview here of it. No official picks yet. We still have a lot of research to do. We're about 2 weeks away there, Shano. 11 days. I should rephrase it, right? 11 days until we've got the match? No, 11 days. It's on the 24th.
Yeah, 20.
We have back-to-back there, Shano. We have back-to-back. We've got 324, and then the week after, we got 325.
Yeah. Yeah, back-to-back weeks. Maybe the UFC was just like tired of this. They've had like a 6 or 7 week break here between their last 2 pay-per-views.
Yeah.
We talked about that before, and we think that's because, you know, they didn't know what their situation was going to be with the pay-per-view things up in the air, because they knew they were going to go away from pay-per-view events and switch to a streaming service, but they didn't have a deal in place. So that's when they were making the schedule. But then Paramount, they paid a ton of money, $7.7 billion. So
yeah, a lot of money,
a lot of money,
a lot of bread, as they say. We're covering, of course, we're looking at a sneak peek of UFC 324 with me and Shane O'Mac. We cover, of course, all of the UFC numbered matches, so the number ones, right? And we're going to cover, of course, a total of 5 matches. That's what you usually get. There's no longer any pay-per-view because of what Paramount Plus has done, which I just re-signed my Paramount Plus, $55 for the whole year. I'm set, my guy. I'm set.
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a good deal, man. It's so much better for everybody, right? The UFC made a ton of money from Paramount. Paramount's going to get a huge bump in subscriptions, and we don't have to pay $60 for pay-per-view fights anymore. So it's great for everybody. I think it's going to help boost UFC's numbers even more and get more people behind it because of this. Because so many people were like, I'm not paying $60 or $70 for a fight. Especially some of these fights, they're over in 30 seconds sometimes. You never know. Yeah. Right? So
and there's going to be
some one eye poke.
And there's going to be some matches on CBS as well, on the local affiliates as well. So let's look at the third fight there after or right before the co-main event, I should say. I'm, of course, referring to the O'Malley match taking on the is it Yadong?
Song Yadong. Yep. Sean O'Malley, huge crowd favorite. He is definitely a pure striker, dude. Pure striker, and that left hand is serious. That left hand, he's got power behind that left hand, and that's how he finishes most of his fights. That knockout number there at plus 275 is very tempting for me to put money on Sean O'Malley there at plus 275 at knockout. That's pretty good. Song Yadong's a good fighter too. This card is stacked, man. These 3 fights alone. Yeah. Each of these 3 fights could headline its own pay-per-view event on its own. Because all 3 of these fights is top end UFC fighters, top end UFC fighters, and they're all big names, and they're all like fan favorite names. So we're in for a treat. But that number at 275, that's tempting right now.
Of course, and then they've got the decision there, Shane, at plus 120. It's a little bit of money. I mean, it's not big money like 275 there, but I mean, it's an interesting take. My question to you then is, with Sean O'Malley, it's definitely not going to go under in less than a half a round.
No, I don't think so. It could, but Yadong's got a pretty good chin. Not great, but he's got a pretty good chin. So I don't think he's going to get finished in that first round at all. As you can see, the over there is at minus 3,000. So I mean, the odds of that happening are pretty low, I would say.
Right.
Not to say it can't happen, but O'Malley is definitely, like I said, he's got that power and that, especially in that left hand, and he'll drop you for sure. But he's definitely more of a counter puncher. He'll wait. He likes to sit back and wait, and wait for you to make a mistake and leave an opening, and that's when he boom comes right in and knocks you right out. So I think if it happens, it'd probably be after the halfway point of the fight.
Yeah, we definitely have our homework cut out for us, so to speak, here. Because I'll be honest with you, I do agree with you with the kind of a layoff of the UFC, but we've had so much. We had so much that was going on. We had the college football playoffs. We had, of course, the end of the NFL season, the NFL wild card and stuff like that. We had, of course, the holidays there, Shano. So, I don't mind taking a few weeks off. But that being said, this is crazy back to back, and then it's pretty much nothing in February.
Yeah, that's weird too. Like you would think you'd have one in February, right? So like move that second one back 2 or 3 weeks, then it'd be spaced out more.
Yeah,
but maybe they're hoping that because like this card should be a banger, so maybe like they're saying like, hey, let's strike while the iron's hot. Hey, this card's going to be good. Let's hook some guys, boom, and then come right back at them, and then they make some lifelong fans. Maybe that's what they're thinking,
Absolutely.
But who knows how it's going to go though.
Absolutely. Let's look at the fourth fight there on screen here. I, of course, am referring to Derek Lewis taking on Cortez Acosta. Waldo. It's more like finding Waldo there. And if you look at its numbers, it's the two Americans here. It's minus 310 for Acosta, plus 250 for Derek Lewis. These guys look huge.
Yeah, heavyweight bout here. So 2 big dudes. I love Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis is a super entertaining fighter. He's hilarious too. Mm-hmm. If you ever listen to his interviews and stuff like that, he's hilarious. His most famous clip of all time is after a fight. He was a fight he won. He was dead tired, hot as can be. He took his shorts off in the middle of the ring.
Oh,
he had his underwear on underneath.
Right.
And then Joe Rogan's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He said, "My balls are hot."
Oh man,
made me an instant fan of his right away.
Right.
Super entertaining guy. This one's definitely not going to finish. These dudes are going to sit there and trade and bang. They're going to sit there in the middle of the ring and just trade blows on each other. So this one's definitely not going the distance.
What about, real quick, Shayna, what about the knockout line on Acosta? It looks like he's got that punch at minus 115. KO, TKO, DQ. Does that interest you at all?
Definitely does. Derek Lewis, I mean, he's getting up there in age. I don't know how old he is off the top of my head, but he's got to be close to 40, if not over 40 by now.
Right.
So he's been around for a long, long time. Great fighter, but he's just kind of like on the way out here. You know what I mean? And his chin has gotten weaker as he's gotten older, like most people, right? In the fight game. I just looked it up. He is 40 years old. He'll turn 41 in February. So, so I could definitely see, and I can definitely see why that's kind of like a favorite odd there for Waldo, is that at the minus 115.
Right.
Because I don't think this is going to end in decision. I don't see that happening at all. Not with these two guys. These guys are going to go in there and try and trade and bang the whole time.
Yeah. Let's look at, of course, our last fight preview of this. There's no official pick yet. We still have some research to do, folks. So I'm, of course, referring to Arnold Allen, from England, taking on Sean Silva from Brazil. And you can see the records almost somewhat of the same there. 20-3 for Allen, 16-3 for Silva. But if we look at the numbers here, Shano, to finish for Silva is minus 400. Wow.
Woo. That's kind of like that Patty Pimlet one I saw, minus 360.
Yeah.
Right? John Silva, he's got a pretty cool nickname. His nickname is Lord. He's the Lord. Both these guys, are pretty much up and coming. I think they're both like in their late 20s. I think Silva's in there. It's like 28, 29. Arnold Allen's probably around there too. Both up and coming guys. As you can see, both only 3 losses. This will be an interesting fight, but minus 400 to finish. I mean, that's a huge thing there. KO is at plus 180. I know that most of Silva's wins have come by knockout, so that's not surprising to me. I don't see either of these guys being a submission. Both of them are more straight strikers than grapplers, so that doesn't surprise me that the submission numbers are that high. But minus 400 to finish. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I see this right now. I haven't done any of the math yet, as you know, there, Shayna, but I see it probably finishing after the first, a round and a half under, maybe the start of the second round. So I kind of like the under plus 124. I'm not making that in my official bet yet, but I kind of like that under 124 for this one.
Yeah, that's sticking out to me too. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, so we, of course, will have more of our updates on this later on when we sit down and kind of like do the math there, Shano. But, of course, a lot to cover. We've got the NFL divisional numbers that just came out that we just saw. We're going to look at the UFC numbers again. Shano, any bets that is, well, we've got one that's going on in hockey right now. It's 2-1 now, Montreal, over your beloved Caps.
Caps just scored, but I missed who scored. Did you see who was?
No, do not know who that was.
I didn't see it because we were talking about the UFC stuff, so I was look it up. It was Ethan Frank for the Caps. He's like their third line center.
Yeah.
So young boy getting it. That's good. We need the Caps score. That's what we need.
Yeah, we do. They need to score.
We need to score here. They need to score and they need to score fast. You're right. Yeah. We need that bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have some other picks. We have the game that hasn't started yet. Starts soon. Is the Ducks game? Stars Ducks over. So that's one of our plays there. And what was the other game we had?
The other game was, of course, the Hurricanes, and they're getting destroyed 3-0. So I think we need to go back to our algorithm and figure out what the hell is going on with NHL, because we were on fire over 80% last week, and now it looks like we're giving back to the books, because it's like the house takes and the house giveth.
Yes, it does. So. That is for sure. We were 80% last week. This week we're starting off a little rough, but we'll fix it and move on.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
for sure
definitely bounce back on that. Shayna, we've got some soccer picks. I've got a couple Liga MX. Now we've got that short out for you guys in English and in Spanish. So estás en español también for you Spanish listeners. So check us out on X as well as on all of our social media platforms, which is YouTube, Instagram, of course, TikTok. We have the wise man who did okay in college basketball last week. We didn't hit the hot dog, but
both my picks hit.
Both of your picks did hit. So it's like I said, we need to get ready and look at these algorithms and look at the models and see what's going on. We had pretty much almost an 80% too there, Shayna, winning weeks in the NFL in the regular NFL season. But again, a couple bad beats, especially which I'm still bitter about the Jacksonville Jaguars loss.
Yeah, so, for sure. Yeah. We got 4 games we're picking this week for NFL, so make sure you tune into our show on Friday. We're giving out our best picks for NFL, and then we'll go back into college basketball, like you said. But we'll pick all 4 games again. Might as well. We're going through all the NFL games. This is like it's a sad weekend for me, but a great weekend. I love divisional round weekend, but it's also sad because it's telling me that like there's only 2 more weeks of football left of the NFL, and it's like a sad moment for me.
Well, we appreciate having the UFL GOAT, who talked about, of course, the upcoming spring football in the UFL and a lot of changes, a lot of things in the draft in the upcoming schedule that's happening next week. We have more exciting news to announce, and we're going to announce that hopefully this upcoming Friday. as well as there's Shano, we will be this Sunday at Capital One. Pretty much your backyard, Capital One Arena. Where not for the Caps game, but we're going to be looking at the PWHL Takeover Tour.
Takeover Tour. It's huge. Like you said, didn't they open up the Upper Bowl too?
They
so
did.
That's it. They're expecting a big crowd there. I mean, Cap One Arena holds 20,000. So if they can pack that place 20,000, that's going to open up Ted Leonce's eyes and definitely make him want a PWHL team.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
Sure. And I want that ball moving because more hockey is better for everybody.
Absolutely. We have, of course, Her Excellency is going to be there as well, so we'll run into her, and hopefully we can get her on the show soon to talk a little bit, not only the PWHL, but the exciting news in the WNBA, as you know, they didn't really agree on the new CBA, but they had some type of compromise there. But we'll dive a little bit more into it with her. She covers all of our women's sports. I did talk to a few other handicappers this week, which, of course, is going to be some CFL. The CFL, of course, released their schedule. So we'll have, of course, JD Money to return to talk to us about his thoughts on the CFL and what lies ahead in the upcoming season, as well as the Ace of Diamonds. We will have, of course, our Major League Baseball picks, our daily picks. He's going to be covering Major League Baseball. I think he's either doing daily picks or he's doing every other pick or every other day, I should say. But he did cover our college baseball tournament last year for the summer. So,
he did great college baseball last year.
He was on fire.
Yeah, he was. If you guys weren't following his picks, you were missing out. Yeah. He was hitting. He hit like an 85% clip.
Yeah,
it was like ridiculous.
He was hitting. It was gold. It was like holy cow. This guy was on fire. So that's going to be. We're going to be covering that. We're going to be focus a little bit more as the NFL. Sad to say, as Shanos pointed out, the NFL is, of course, I don't want to say dying down, but of course fading out for the season as we focus on not only the college football championship. We'll talk about that in just a second there, Shannon. We'll get your thoughts real quick, but more college basketball as the George Mason Patriots, which you called over VCU.
So technically I was 3-0. Yeah. Technically I was 3-0.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one, Shane. I got one which was Houston over Baylor. It wasn't even close, dude.
Mason to me, man. I know they're a mid-major, but I think they're legit good this year. I think they're legit. Like I think they they'll win their division, they'll win their conference. I mean, right. And they'll make the tourney in March, and I think they might make some noise. Like not like super deep, but maybe like a Sweet 16. I could see that happening.
Yeah. I don't know what took place. I know they played earlier, and they actually won their channel 82-74 over Loyola, Illinois.
Yeah, Loyola's pretty good too usually. So.
Yeah. So they move up to 17-1 overall. We might have to go catch a game. Go see my buddy Doc.
Yeah,
Doc that handles the Green Machine.
Yeah,
personal friend of mine. So I might have to go. Might have to bring him a hat. Might have to bring him, one of these hats for him. He does a great job over at Eagle Bank. I still call it Patriot Center. Let's be honest.
I call it Patriot Center too. There's no way I'm calling that. What Eagle Bank. Get out of here with that. Yeah. Get out of here. Leonce owns that building now too. You know that, right?
Jeez.
Ted Lee owns everything.
Wow.
It's either him or the Learners in DC. They own like 75% of the city.
He needs to take over DC United. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah.
The Mason game though, I'm down to go for that. You can still go to those games for pretty cheap. You can get tickets for like $20.
Yeah,
and get in the door.
It's around the corner for us too. It's literally around the corner for us. So
and you can see some. The only games that are tough to go to is like when they play like VCU's tough to go to.
Yeah.
American, like the close local teams that they have rivalries with. Those are kind of hard to get tickets to. Other than that, you can usually find pretty good tickets.
Hard to get tickets to see JMU. Anyway, I definitely want to go to that one. I hope my wife.
What are your early leans here? I know the game's not till Monday, but for the national championship game for college. The spread is at plus 8.5 now. It moved.
Yeah, we got in. We got in early there, Shano.
Yeah,
it came out at -7 at -110. We took Indiana as soon as the game was over. It was a blowout, obviously, but boom. As soon as Indiana won, click.
We talked about that with the wise men. We were saying, like, wait for these lines to drop because it's going to move quick. And it's moved quick. It's already at plus, they're at -8.5 now.
Yeah.
Some books I see right here, there's one book right here has it at -9. So it's starting to move even more. I mean, woo. -9. I mean, you're getting in big territory.
You may want to take +9 with Miami then. If it goes to 9.5 or 10, you may want to go.
Yeah, I mean, because it is in Miami. It is in Miami. So Miami's going to be steamed up.
Yep.
Steamed up.
Yep.
Steamed up. They'll definitely have the home field advantage for sure.
And don't be like FanDuel. Did you see the tweet? They already made it for where the Bears were eliminated. Is that the game that you sent me that tweet?
Which one?
Wasn't that the one that you sent me a tweet where it was, hey, they already had the game for the
Divisional?
Oh,
yeah.
And the Bears were even in it. It was Green Bay. Yeah.
It was just after halftime, and FanDuel released it for the Packers versus whoever they would play because it'd be different because they're not the same. It was like Seattle. It was like whatever. They put out the lines for the Packers for Seattle because they're like, this game's over, and they put it out, and then look at that, Bears, boom, turn around, you're around. Ain't nothing's over until it's over. Isn't that what Rocky said?
Yeah, but listen, I didn't hear no bell. I got to be nice to FanDuel, I'm just saying, I got to be nice to FanDuel, but yeah, do better. Come on. Do better.
Yeah, but we jumped on that Indiana -7 as soon as it came out. I mean, and Indiana has just been rolling, haven't they? I mean, good God, they've been rolling.
Yeah.
But don't count Miami out, man. I mean, Indiana played Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. They only beat them by 3. Miami showed up and beat the brakes off Ohio State in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
So don't count Miami out, guys. Don't count them out at all.
Speaking of FanDuel, all of our odds are coming from our NHL picks are going to be courtesy of our folks over at FanDuel. And our NCAA picks or college picks, as you know, and this is the book that they've got everything on the ball. They're ready to go. They know what they're talking about. I'm of course referring to BetMGM. They take care of us. They definitely take care of us. So if you're looking for, you have to wait, a day or whatever or the morning of for the number when we do the live show Friday night for our Saturday and Sunday's games. BetMGM definitely takes care of us. So that's the book that gets you the number right away. And we have, of course, our new sponsor is Odds and Score, who's providing all the odds for us. So everything that you see there. And again, it changes throughout the week. You don't know what the injury report is, especially in the NFL or what have you. So check them out, download the app, and they will get you the best numbers. Just or have your local books, DraftKings, FanDuel, what have you, But yeah, there it is.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a cool site. It's always good to get the best line. So using an app like that is huge because if you can find a book that has it at a money line that's at -110 and another book has that -140, that's a huge difference in the grand scheme of things when you're making tons of bets.
Absolutely. So before we sign off here, any last words there, Shano?
No, we just need Caps to score here. That's about it. So go Caps. We need some more points.
Yeah.
Tonight we were
on a power play just recently.
Yeah, they were just on the power play. They're out shooting the Canadians 30-22, which with shots on goal. Usually that means some more goals, but obviously
Montreal
not.
Played last night.
Montreal did play last night. They played the Canucks last night. They won big, but it was tied going into the third period, and then Canadians came through, and the Canucks are terrible. I mean, they're bad. The Canucks, by the way, just so for future betting for NHL, for anybody still watching, is the Canucks, they pretty much came out and said that they are going to be doing a full-on rebuild. And so that tells me they're going to be sellers here, trading away anybody worth of value. And they've had some key injuries too.
Sure.
So Canucks, fade the Canucks. That's my advice to you. Whenever you see the Canucks, fade the Canucks.
Yeah. We're going to have to look at the algorithm. I mean, like I said, last week, 80%, and then this, yeah. We're wearing too many hats. That's what it is. We're wearing just too many hats. That's going to do it for us for this episode here, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Definitely helps out the channel. We're starting to expand. We're over 5,000 followers on YouTube. And we've got a lot of things that, again, a lot of announcements, a lot of big guests that's going to be coming on to the show. We just had, of course, the UFL GOAT. We're going to have a little bit more bigger guests, of course, more guests, I should say, and bigger sports in regards to, baseball, UFC, the whole 9 yards. So stay tuned for that. We will make those announcements shortly. We'll be back Friday at 8 o'clock with the NFL pick. We'll bring in the Wise Man at 8:30 for our NCAA pick. But, yeah, I feel like things are looking good for 2026 there, Shano.
Definitely are. New Year's in full swing. We're going to be turning around here. We're going to be gaining. Thank you guys for all the subscribers. Like you said, we're over 5,000. That's huge. X, we're starting to grow a little bit more as well, too. Spread the word. Tell your friends. Tell everybody, like, subscribe. Watch when you can. We give our best and honest bets. We put a lot of work into it. And thank you guys for watching and following us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Have a good night, guys. We will see you Friday night, and take care.